Never stop reading Bible. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into some really timeless wisdom, practical guidance from Proverbs, specifically chapters 4, 5, and 6. We're going to try and pull out some key insights to help, navigate life's choices.
Yeah, and what's great is how direct these texts are. They're not abstract theories. They're like actionable principles for life.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Chapter 4 kicks off quite personally, doesn't it? The writer talks about getting wisdom from a parent and passing it on. What's the core lesson there?
Well, the fundamental thing is really about acting on that parental instruction about wisdom. It's not just hearing it. The text makes it clear. Doing that brings blessings. And right away, it sets up this stark contrast.
Two paths.
Exactly. The path of the wise versus the path of the wicked. And it's, pretty clear that the wicked path leads straight to, well, downfall. Destruction, basically.
No ambiguity there. And it really pushes this idea of internalizing it, right? To keep them in your heart. What does that actually mean beyond just knowing it?
Keeping it in your heart means it becomes part of you. Not just rules you follow, but something deep inside that shapes how you see things, your gut feelings. It acts like an internal compass. So when false ideas or, tempting shortcuts come along,
you can spot them.
Yeah, exactly. You instinctively feel that something's off, even if it looks good on the surface. Give you discernment.
That makes sense. And there's a promise attached, isn't there? For those who guard these words. Something about strength.
Yes, both physical and spiritual strength. It's fascinating, that holistic benefit. It suggests wisdom isn't just mental. Wise choices about character, relationships, even health.
So it's about flourishing, not just avoiding bad stuff.
Precisely. You avoid self-destructive paths, manage stress better, build support systems. It all contributes to a stronger, more vital life overall.
Okay, so that lays a strong foundation. Then we move into chapter 5, which gets very specific about relationships. Here's where it gets really interesting, I think, because it tackles a major pitfall head-on.
It does. It zooms right in on the warning against the immoral woman, the adulteress. It acknowledges the initial allure, how it might seem sweet like honey, offer pleasure. But ultimately, it leads to utter ruin and unbearable pain. The language is intense because the damage is so profound. It breaks trust, erodes character, destroys families. The text even says it's hateful to God, which really underlines the seriousness.
So thinking about today, we're surrounded by temptations, instant gratification. What's the practical takeaway for us now?
Well, the chapter immediately contrasts that destructive path with the positive alternative. It talks about rejoicing in one's youthful wife, the beauty and benefit of faithful, committed love within marriage.
So finding joy in commitment, not fleeting encounters.
Right. True. Lasting happiness isn't in those quick hits that damage everything. It's built over time through trust and intimacy. And crucially, it warns that regret in old age is useless. You can't undo it then.
Act now, basically. Remember God's word from the start?
Exactly. It's about proactive discernment. Make the commitment to integrity before you're faced with the temptation. Because trying to fix it after the fact, it's often too late.
That flows really well into chapter 6, which kind of shifts gears, doesn't it? It's more about everyday traps.
Yeah, it's a series of practical warnings about common foolish behaviors that can really ensnare us.
What ties them together? They seem a bit varied at first glance.
The common thread is really the long-term consequence of seemingly small, everyday choices. Like, first, it warns against co-signing debts. The advice is basically get out of that guarantee quickly if you've made it. It's not just about the money.
It's about the relationship.
Absolutely. It avoids that strain and potential resentment if things go sour, protects the friendship, preserves your own stability.
Okay, what's next?
Then there's laziness. The text is blunt. It calls it the primary cause of poverty. It's seeing inaction and lack of diligence, not just as a bad habit, but as something that directly leads to want by missing opportunities.
A mindset issue, not just circumstance.
Right. Third, it warns about wicked behavior deceit, causing trouble between people, the consequence. When trouble hits them, they'll be abandoned. Their actions destroy trust, so no one's there for them. It's about the social cost.
And finally, it comes back to sexual misconduct again, but it feels even stronger here.
It does. It's reinforced powerfully. It's described as more terrifying than any crime, leading to utter destruction.
Why so much emphasis, even more than before?
Because I think its power to destroy is seen as unique. It doesn't just affect property or finances. It tears at the absolute core of relationships of the family unit. The betrayal, the broken trust. It inflicts wounds that are incredibly deep and often permanent, impacting generations. The ruin is just profound.
So looking at all four, debt, laziness, deceit, infidelity. What's the big picture from chapter 6?
It really boils down to understanding that our everyday actions have ripples. Small choices, poor habits, ethical compromises, they add up. They shape our future, our relationships, our well-being. It's a call for foresight, for personal responsibility in the small things, because that's where a life of integrity is actually built.
This deep dive into wisdom was made possible by the rich source material provided by the Center Studio.